All right, I can see your slides. Looks good. You can take it away. We got about another 10-15 minutes here, so go ahead.
Sounds great. As you can see, I'm Connie Strunk, not Madeline Shires. Madeline had something come up, so I'm filling in or pitch hitting for her this morning. We've got a few diseases that she wanted me to share with you regarding different pulse crops. And if there's some questions, Fabina has graciously offered to help tackle them as well. Okay, and there we go. Got some slides here and some information from Dr. Michael Wonish from the NDSU Carrington Research Extension Center. So just want to give credit and help for the pictures and photos and some information that he has shared with us. Looking at some disease management for chickpeas, field peas, lentils. One of the first diseases here that we're going to talk about is the identification of powdery mildew. You know, a lot of folks, depending on the year, have seen some little bit of powdery mildew out there. Again, I mean, we can find it not only in our pulse crops, but we can find it in wheat and in our other crops here in the state. What powdery mildew will look like really early on is just some very small patches of white, what look like powder, growth on that upper surface of your oldest leaves. So you're going to tend to find it on the oldest leaves first. When it will switch. All right. With the powdery mildew, as symptoms progress, meaning as they get a little bit older, so more of that early to mid symptom expression on the plant, you're going to find that white powdery layer usually above that green tissue. But as that symptom really starts to age, you're going to start to see that patchy gray discoloration, almost giving that plant a bluish tinge or a bluish hue, where it just really encompasses all of the leaves, the stem, the pods, all of that, you know, green growing tissue. The impacts of powdery mildew, you know, it really is an important disease to work with because it can reduce the yield, it can significantly reduce the seed size, causes premature crop maturity. Again, you know, at harvest time, there's something known as like a severe mildew dust at harvest, oftentimes results in breathing allergy problems for those that are operating the machinery. Conditions that favor powdery mildew are warm, dry weather, oftentimes accompanied with those cool nights that causes dew. So what we don't want, like we won't see this disease a lot if we have rain that sits on the leaf. It's not a disease that likes that. It likes that drier weather with that kind of that humidity. Those close canopies, you know, those higher planting populations, just it really likes that humidity, allows that, you know, dew to form, but likes more of that warm, dry weather. With management of powdery mildew, again, looking at resistant varieties to help with that issue. If you have a variety that is susceptible to powdery mildew, really encourage like avoiding late planting dates. And there are fungicides available, but recommend that, you know, they're applied preventively if you have a perceived risk that you're thinking this disease is going to be a problem. So again, you know, really scouting to know what's happening out there really helps with that. Again, you know, with the fungicide, they are available for you. You know, Proline has been rated as very good, whereas Preaxar, Headline, and Quadras in his studies have come up as good. If you look at the chart here underneath the powdery mildew, this was at mid to late pod fill and the percent severity of the powdery mildew out there on the plants. So looking at, you know, the non-treated control, meaning stuff was just out there and whatever happened. He had a 96% severity of powdery mildew out in the field. When he applied Headline, it was greatly reduced. Proline is where he saw the least amount of powdery mildew out in the field. Combine it to yield. If there was no treatment, yield was lower. When he utilized the Headline or Proline, yield had increased. And then just important to know that in his study, he didn't have any data for the fungicide efficacies on some of the new fungicides that are out there and available. Come on. Switching gears a little bit are some of the root rot diseases. With some of these, it may be hard to tell with the naked eye or just as you're out scouting as to what's happening. So really encourage grabbing samples of any seed decay and damping off that you're seeing and get it sent into the plant diagnostic lab for identification, because not all seed treatment is created equal. So it's not going to cover every seedling disease that is out there or that could happen. So again, we can see here let's go to some Pythium. Again, with Pythium, it likes high soil moisture, wide range of soil temperatures. Low to moderate tend to be more at risk. So again, some of the symptoms are that seed decay, damping off, resulting in poor stand establishment. We have rhizoctonia, again, seed decay, damping off, some root rot that occurs. Soil moisture is kind of like that moderate to high. Soil temperatures are more in the low. Again, poor stand establishment, due to that seed decay, damping off. But with rhizoctonia, you may see a sunken reddish to dark brown lesion on those stems by that, around that soil line or just below, just above. So you may be able to see rhizoctonia a little bit easier and distinguish that from other seedling diseases or root rots. I mean, the Apomyces, Apomyces root rot tends to have high soil moisture, higher soil temp. Some of these symptoms are more of the stunted plants. You're going to kind of see a chlorotic purplish hue within the leaves or on the stem. And then over time, you might start to see some kind of canker or more sunken appearances start to take hold. So again, something to be watching for. And then same with the other root rot, which is Fusarium wilt that we can see here in the state. With soil moisture low to high, temps, they like it high. So again, a lot of different root rots. It's here in the state. Yes, we use seed treatments, but really want to make sure that you are putting on seed treatment that's going to control the actual disease that you have out in that field. So, if in doubt, send in those samples for it to be diagnosed. That way you can make sure you're putting the best prevention out there that you can to help eliminate those disease problems. I'm kind of switching gears real quick to a couple of canola diseases. The biggest one that we would see or have in the state is black leg of canola. It is the most economically devastating disease in canola. Produces these irregular brown to tan lesions on the cotyledon. Oftentimes you're going to see reproductive structures within or growing on those lesions. Advanced infection would be stem lesions form, rotting occurs, and there's going to be cankers. And then just like any disease, but especially this one, the seedling infection. So if it takes place when the seedling is very young, it is the most damaging to the plant. And that's pretty typical with a lot of diseases. Just kind of looking at that pycnidia, those little black spots within the brown lesion on the leaf, a little close up of that. You'll see that within the stems also, and they can like girdle. These pictures are from San Martel from SDSU. With sclerotinia, stem rot of canola, again, it's another damaging disease. It's this known as white mold, causes a brown, white, mushy lesion on flowers and stems. The lesions grow, they become kind of bleached white colors. You may see some like fungal growth when the humidity is high. Have to be careful with this one, just with rotation away, because with the white mold, it is very susceptible to some other crops that are growing here in the state, such as sunflower, soybeans, etc. So again, just another look of the sclerosis stem rot. starting on the stem, kind of got that sunken white, almost chalky appearance going on, really beginning to shred and cover within that stem. And then if you notice on the right side of the screen, you'll see the dark black sclerotia within inside the stem. And then just kind of wrapping up, changing gears briefly, just wanted to touch on a disease found in safflower. It's known as alternaria leaf spot. Causes a large brown, somewhat irregular spot on the leaves and the flower bracts. Usually this disease, you want to control or apply a fungicide at that first flower to control or suppress this disease. Rarely is safflower rust a problem, but that could be an issue also. We do have a few other diseases that can be found within safflower, but the most common is that alternaria leaf spot and then safflower rust. And then just wanted to show a few diseases that can occur within flax if people are growing flax. So we do have a few that we kind of watch and look for, but that is what I have for a very brief set of slides to share with you this morning. And just want to end with contact information for Dr. Shires and myself. We're available to help answer questions or identifications. But again, with anything disease related, if you have a question, don't wait until harvest or until the plant is totally dead. It's easier for us to help you if you see some green and growing tissue out there. So please, if you have any questions or see something that doesn't look quite right, grab photos, grab samples, get them sent in to Dr. Shires, myself, or the diagnostic clinic. We're here to help. So I'm going to turn it back over to Pat.